Hey guys, this is Jim Fix, aka Fillmore. For those of you who love QF, a podcast about Howard Stern, and would like to donate some money, there's two ways now you can do it. You can join our Patreon page, which is listed in the graphic you're seeing now. But also, if you'd rather not do a subscription-based thing, even if it's $1 a month or what have you, you can use our PayPal account, which would be jimfix76@gmail.com. And you can donate whatever you like, however you like, one of those two ways, and we'd more than appreciate it if you'd like to do so. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Anybody, any engineers want to pop on? Tell me why Robin can't hear me.
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
I don't even know if I'm on the air right now. So
Howard, you were not being heard by anybody.
I guess I'm not. Hello?
I can't. I don't know if he can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you right now. Now you just froze.
The Howard Stern Show.
See, I had a weird, confusing early sexual fantasy, and I was always mystified by it. I was into the TV show Honey West.
Yes.
Anne Francis. She was hot. Blonde, big boobs, the whole deal. And my mom got me a book, a Honey West book, and I was reading about it, and in one little page in the book, Honey West was like bound and gagged by a group of dudes, and they were going to do weird crap to her. So I remember laying in bed as a little kid, imagining that I was Honey West strapped down in the bed, spread eagle.
Now that's weird.
So I said, wait a second, I might be gay.
Really? Why do you want to be Honey West?
Why am I identifying with Honey West?
I think you're just a masochist. Strange. I think that's the thing. You know, you want to be tied down.
I wanted to be tied down.
Yeah.
Like, it dawned on me like 2 days ago, my hair's going to get crazy because I don't have, I'm not going to get a haircut. And then Beth goes, I'll cut your hair, but you can't cut my hair because my hair is curly. It's
hard to cut your hair.
Would you do me a favor? Would you pretend that I am Bahati? I'm sitting here. I'm going to be honest with you. It's hot in the garage. I'm wearing a bra top. And I only have panties on. I'm being honest.
Can you go a little slower? Just talk about it.
You have underwear on under that robe?
There ain't nothing gay about him.
All right, like the one main thing I was talking to these guys about yesterday, when we went to Las Vegas, it was 3 days of shows, porn stars, strippers, everything out there, right?
Yeah.
Howard starts off the show, his first observation is he saw Casey down at the pool with his shirt off. Like, that's his first observation.
Yeah, but what you don't lie,
like 5 hours later.
Why are you eating home fries? You getting a little bit of a belly.
Oh, look at his dog.
You know I like my girls shaved.
Making out with the guy in the back seat.
Yeah.
I don't think it was at that time, Howard. It was another time. It was like he was just on the side, like he was in front of his house making out with the guy.
Oh, they couldn't even get indoors.
No, they were on the street.
But wait, what is this about the book?
He's caught.
I think Ralph really did this.
Did you make out with a guy?
Oh, Ralph.
What happened? What are you, high?
No, this is...
I was gay way before I met Beth.
Welcome, everybody, to QF, a podcast about Howard Stern. I'm Fillmore, a.k.a. Jim Fix, and with me, of course, is my wonderful, fantabulistic co-host, Sam.
Hi, guys.
Now, typically, we would not have done this particular thing during the course of doing a bunch of breakdowns, which Raven and I are trying to get back onto, get us up to date, up to speed, rather. But what happened was, Wiggy got Arsenio Hall in for an interview, which was actually pretty good, but not because of Wig. Arsenio told some really good stories, and it was just like he divulged, he gave, and then Wig just barely had. But either way, I said, rather than clip that for the breakdowns, why don't we use this as the reason for another Reschinding? Because if you and Sam and I both know, he was brutal to Arsenio for since forever.
Jealousy, just seething jealousy and hatred and projection. I mean, just the whole gambit. Also, too, Arsenio's kind of reminded me of Drew Barrymore's interview where she's a little bit meandering, but she gave stories and she gave. Yeah. So it's better when Wig doesn't interject or talk. So anybody that can steamroll over Wig, I'm happy with that. That's a success.
Now we're going to cover some old ground because when we played the Fox pilot breakdown, we played some of the these clips as well. I think just the audio. I can't remember if we played the video, but we're going to go through the first full Arsenio wig appearance. And I boosted up the sound, so hopefully it sounds all right. But the the video's it's going to have its limitations. So, and the roots of it, of course, just real quick, is Fox dropped the Joan Rivers show, and they wanted, in case you guys didn't listen to that episode, they wanted to find a replacement. And so Buck Henry was one, Arsenio was one. They did test shows, and they gave Howard test shows, but they didn't even air them. That's how bad they were. And then you'll hear the reasons he's giving, and then subsequent reasons he said was bullshit. But I want you guys to hear it full, because then he starts talking about it in the history of Howard Stern. So you can hear the Reschinding, you can hear the fucking revisionist history in almost every clip.
My favorite is that once YouTube posted those Fox pilots, it was so badly, it's so poorly done. I mean, Fillmore and I were in shock at how horrible it was. It takes the cake for probably worse than any of his, I'd say, pay-per-view specials.
Easily.
Yeah.
And as bad as the Channel 9 show, like as bad, maybe a lot worse than the Channel 9 shows, but they're all on par. There's not like one of them's not a T-bone steak and the other one's not a, piece of liver. They're all shit. They're all liver. So let's go with it and bear with us, guys.
His broadcast on WXRK FM radio in New York caused a whole revolution in censorship. Let's welcome the meanest, nastiest, dirtiest DJ in the whole wide world, my man, Mr. Howard Stern.
Go ahead. Ralph.
Yeah, that's real hair.
Ralph's not in the picture yet, but he is getting style tips from, I don't know, maybe Dee Snider or somebody, but Ralph's a couple years away from getting in the picture, I believe, because this is 87.
Look at those shades. I mean, he's like Flock of Seagulls, Danny Barbarino, like what?
With the members only jacket.
It's just really bad.
Yeah.
It's really, really bad.
I'm the DJ of the week, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
But how's it feel to be part of a failing show? How long before you get the pink slip? I mean, you're carrying this on your... You know how Eddie you are.
Now, this is the thing that really makes me laugh, because he's going in, you guys have to understand, the test pilots have already failed. He's so pissed that he's going on Arsenio's show, his show has made it to air. That's kind of the point.
Well, it's going to fail Fillmore, even though it didn't.
Well, and then the background guys, of course, I think I've explained it before, but all right, we'll do it again. This is the Fox version of the Arsenio Hall show, which is, as I said, the test pilots testing for getting the job that Joan Rivers had. But then he went to do Coming to America with Eddie Murphy, a feature film, Howard, not another radio gig. And when he came back, he had already been signed by Paramount. So the actual Arsenio Hall show, the real thing, was Paramount, not Fox. And then Fox never did replace Joan.
And this just shows how helpful he was to Black culture.
Mm-hmm.
Always pushing for them to succeed.
Yeah.
Great, man. I love you. I love your concert films. I don't watch the show because I usually go to bed early.
You don't mind if I just sit and listen to you? Right?
No, as a matter of fact, I don't even want you to interview me. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't know who Arsenio is. I'll be honest with you. I never heard of him.
Another black man making more money than you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's gotta burn his ass, because one, Howard cares so much about marbles. So the appearance of him not making as many marbles as especially a black guy, his Adam's apple is going up and down, up and down.
On a show that he was desperate for, and he was with the Wine and Dine, the Fox execs, and then did the shows, and then of course they were a complete failure, and then so now he's on that show. Like,
yeah,
I don't.
I mean, It's
I don't
just
even know what he's
so-
on there for. He's not plugging anything, really. He's just being there. He's just being asked as a guest. I'm sure Arsenio said, yeah, sure, have him on.
I think this is actually, in hindsight, Arsenio played this just right because he looks like a total asshole.
Wig does.
Yeah, not Arsenio. No.
Okay, you
Wig,
said-
just like, I'm going to let you talk your way into a hole.
Well, also Arsenio's put together, and this is the thing you can notice between the two of them. Arsenio did stand up, like that's basically where he got his stand. He started magic, and he explained it a little bit more on the interview that he did with Wig, but he said it in many interviews before that. But he's totally confident on the air. He's totally confident on camera. The camera loves him. There's not a camera in the world that loves Wiggy. It's painfully obvious.
I mean, he has to put on, I don't know, a Swiffer mop on his head in order to come out looking comfortable. I swear to Christ, Beth was just cleaning off cat hair with that fucking thing on Instagram. What the fuck is that?
Remind me to ask Richie about the whole sunglasses thing. I know we talked about crazy eyes, but I want to ask him, in the meetings, did he have them on? Was there any time when he didn't have the fucking sunglasses on?
These are extreme too. Like you
Yeah.
can't even, these remind me of like old people driving glasses. Like, when you see old people and they can barely see and they got their real dark glasses,
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of rings on.
These are Jackie O glasses, and Matthew Schultz did a great Photoshop of co-jerk off, whatever. And he put Wig in the
Yeah.
big dark glasses. It's perfect.
You know who I am. You underpaid, but you do have a TV.
No, I know who Arsenio is, but it's a strange name, Arsenio.
It's a wonderful name. If I was white, it'd be a great name. No, it's an Italian name.
Your mother must have...
No, don't talk about my mama, man. Sorry.
I know not to mess with you.
Sorry.
But,
We can do the talk show thing, but don't talk about my mama, okay? My mama's a good woman.
yeah, I have a list of...
You got a list about my mama? Don't play with my mama, man. You can mess with me and mess with my talk show, but don't mess with my mama, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm surprised he didn't hide behind the couch.
Me too. And you actually...
I mean, that's a lot. That's actually pretty un-Howard-like to just sort of sit there. Usually he ducks and runs.
Oh yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Like you can. There's only a few guys you've seen on TV shows interview Howard and have total control of the interview. One of them was Charlie Rose,
Yes.
which Wig could not go on there and do his usual bullshit because it's meant to be an interview show, very proper, very formal, and he had to dress up for it as much as he could. Yep.
The Canadian guy.
Brian Linehan, same.
Yeah.
Yep. And he probably was sat down and said, listen, we know what you do. Try to fucking, assault the host and try to kiss him and give him hickeys and go for a spanking. You can't do it, even though Brian might like it. But
we'll give it the Jackie treatment. We know what you do. Don't be that.
don't do that. Exactly.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
No Martin Luther King jokes and nothing about my mama. That's just the way I am.
Just about.
I'm sorry, Howard. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, but that's just a
My feeling is that just about anybody has been asked to host this show.
Yes.
I've
They
not
all
been asked-
couldn't keep it.
I've not. That's true.
And I kept it.
I have not been asked to host the show.
Now the glasses are off and I don't know what's happening. I'm like trying to look for a coin slot, but this one's a little too floofy to find that. Maybe I'll see it later. But
Yeah,
that was a
eventually.
good dig. That was a nice jab.
Subtle, absolutely.
Yeah, sit over here, man. Sit over here. You just got an attitude. Just sit down. Ladies and gentlemen, Howard Stern.
Oh, this is smart.
That fucking proof.
I mean, I'm sure plenty of girls with like really thick curly hair can attest to like, this is probably what it's like when I wake up in the morning and I have to take a shower and do my hair. Imagine if you didn't do that and decided, perfect, let's go on TV.
Bedhead.
I would never do a show for this stinking network. I think this network blows. I think it's...
That's like getting rejected from Harvard. I hate Harvard. I think it's a piece of shit.
Right. Howard, we got you in on a scholarship. Hey, let's go to Harvard.
It's an outrageous network. I think this network will last another 6 months and it'll be off the air. All right, calm down. Calm down. Calm down. A lot of verbal people here. You want to get out of here? I'll leave, man. I don't care. I don't need the gig. I'll leave, babe.
Okay. Let's
Don't give me any crap.
Sit down.
What a fuck. He really just sat right back down like a bitch.
He did. And then he'll hear later why. It's pretty funny.
I mean, I don't need to be here. You know, I'm doing it. I'm not sure why I'm doing it.
Well, let me explain. Wait.
The Fox.
Remember, he had to fly to L.A. to do this. And he did.
Oh, so that makes it even better because well, now we didn't know back then, but now we know how Howard is. For him to get on a fucking plane and go to L.A., you might as well get a razor blade and start slicing your fingers off. He hates travel. He hates people. He hates being out of his house. So this was so purposeful. There's nothing more. He wants to be there so bad.
Absolutely. And he was planning he had everything planned out completely. This was not just a conversation. This was, I'm going to shit all over them because they wouldn't accept me. And that's exactly what he proceeds to do. But the only difference is it's not really hitting. It's not, he wants to be Rickles once again, but it's not working. Just chuck this up in a line of other fucking 100 appearances where they're unfunny. But this one's worse because we know the background story.
And we also see the MPD traits of, I want my ego stroked, so I'm going to say a bunch of outlandish bullshit. So you want me, you make me stay, you drag me back to the chair.
Yeah.
You desire me. I'm a wanted guest.
Right.
When you're the one who wants to go on the show, you're the one who made all the effort. It's kind of like when he bitches about Jimmy Kimmel and going to Brooklyn or going to LA. Oh, and Jimmy threw this party. You are basically stalking him when he didn't throw you a party because his son was in the hospital. You insane person. He loves the attention.
Well, yeah, they could easily throw it in his face, but yeah, when you showed up, what kind of asshole are you? You hate it so much, but you didn't hate it too much to stay away, dickhead. And I would have thrown it in his face. And literally I would have been like, just like Charles Grodin was on the Carson show plugging his book. And then as he was talking, he goes, you don't really give a care. You don't give a toss about this book. And Carson's like, you're absolutely right. I just want a warm body to fill the next 15 minutes. It was a bit of shtick because they did like each other, but I guarantee Carson was not joking. He was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just getting paid either way.
I love Carson so much.
Yeah.
Network. Wait, let's start all over. What do you have against the Fox network?
Well, they courted me for a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
They went out of their way to get me for a television show. They signed me to a big contract. And then about 2 weeks later, the upper echelon decided they don't want to put me in a TV show. They decided, hey, man, we don't want to do the TV show anymore. Just they didn't even see the show yet. They decided they didn't want to do the TV show.
So they...
Okay, so the big contract, we already got it. He had something like $400,000 to produce 5 test shows. So in 1987, that was still pretty big money and more than enough to make, a decent set, whatever. Later on, he'll complain that they only gave him $10,000 for the set. And we both said, there's no way they gave him that money for the fucking set. He pocketed most of the money and said, let's lowball everything else.
Oh my God. He opened up like some nearest garage and said, perfect. This is the set.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's my 10 grand for myself. And that doesn't even make any sense. They didn't even see the show. Well, Why would they reject it if they didn't see it? That makes 0 sense, Wigtardo.
That's a great new name, by the way.
That's Ravens.
Yeah, it's perfect. Been using it now. Yeah.
Decided you blow and you've decided they blow.
No, they didn't decide I blow. They decided they just didn't want to do business with me. But the hell with it. I don't need the Fox network, man. They had the Emmys. The Emmys is typically a #1 rated show.
I watched you. I enjoyed your work.
Thank you. It was 3rd rated. I mean, how could you not get ratings with the Emmys? What kind of network is it? How can you blow the Emmys?
Yeah.
How bad can you do it?
Did we do bad the other night?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Fox didn't drive Edgar Rosenberg to his death. I'm being serious. I mean, the poor man was going out of his mind, was he not?
Do we have a commercial queued up? I'll tell you, I got some questions here that my mother
Wait,
wrote.
ask me these questions. Ask me these questions.
Let's talk about different things.
Never mind these questions.
Okay, you got your own questions?
Ask me these questions.
Okay.
All right, wait.
Now, I don't really mind that last comment because the network did put a lot of stress with Ed, and he did kind of mismanage that whole situation. So that's kind of a ballsy thing to say.
Well,
that's,
it is,
that's
but
ballsy.
It is, but you can't go on this show and expect that's gonna help your cause when you wanted you so desperately wanted a show. And also, if you're trying to kowtow to the TV or some network for a future gig, you don't think they're gonna watch this and see this and say, well, fuck him. Like, what is this? Is he'll never get a show. And
did he think he was gonna go there and try to be a co-host? Like, look at us.
Yeah,
we're like
basically.
Lucy and Ethel.
Yeah, well, again, this is the funny thing. They didn't even see the shows, and they didn't want to do business with me. Well, they did. If someone doesn't want to do business with you, it means they think you can't make any business for them. That's the long and the short. They'd put on fucking Coco the Clown if they thought it would make money. That's the bottom line. Fox execs, any execs, NBC, they don't give a fuck. It's product. If they think they can make money, they'll put the fucking thing out. That's the end of it.
Well, then how does he keep fooling people?
Well, I mean, he's fooled them, but to a certain extent. What's serious is I really don't know, and people have asked this for years now. What does he have over them that he manages to keep getting contracts of the value of which we don't know about? And I'm sure it's way lower than people would think. But what is the point? Like, what does he have? It's like they have nothing else. Wouldn't they rather
he own
give
something?
I don't think so. I mean, does he own pictures of Jennifer Vitz, like fucking a dog? I have no idea. And Jim Meyer at a bondage club or something? I don't know. But is it compromat or is it just they have nothing else? I don't understand it.
Maybe he owns. Maybe he owns the missing Epstein videos.
Maybe.
All right, you ready? All right, here we go. You start with these. I'll give you some stuff to ask me. Because, here, you start here.
Your own research staff has compiled. Before I read it, I'm going to read it first. Okay. Howard, is it right that a person comes over to this country and becomes a citizen just so he can own a TV network?
Arsenio, that is one good question. Now, how does somebody come over to this country, our beautiful American country?
Now, who is this a shot at?
Well, you know who it is. You know who it is. Who owns this network?
Let's mention his name.
You can't. Rupert Murdoch. All of a sudden, he comes over and he's going to be the head of a network. I mean, he used to be an Australian. 2 weeks ago, he became an American, and he owns a network. I've been living in this country. Arsenio, the reason you don't own a network is, number one, you're black. They never let black guys own networks. And number two, you've been in this country longer than Rupert Murdoch. Why don't you own a network? He will? Hey, God bless him, man.
Now, that's funny, the Rupert Murdoch comment from Wig, complete bullshit, of course, hyperbole, because he's just a 79. But as of 1985, which would have been, well over a year after this, a year before this show aired, 2 years almost, says here, September 4th, 1985, from the LA Times archives. Rupert Murdoch, Australian-born publishing magnate, became a U.S. citizen today, removing an obstacle to his acquisition of a network of independent American television stations. Basically, he had to become a U.S. citizen and forego his Australian citizenship to do the business he could, to be a magnate. And that's it. So he's a bona fide U.S. citizen at that point. So Wig's full of shit.
Yep.
And what else is new? Let's keep going.
Cool sneakers.
Yeah. I love
it.
Are the pants tucked into the socks?
I'm not sure what's going on there, to be honest with you.
Or is he wearing capri pants?
How does a guy come over to this country and just gets a network, man? None of us have a network. It's an outrage.
Okay, and here's an interesting question, and just because it's about me, I'm not going to ignore it.
Wait a minute. He doesn't just get a network. Like, nobody's handing you networks. He was an Australian publishing magnate, you fucking retard. So he made his money elsewhere and decided to bring his his gifts and talents, and he employs a lot of people, Howard, including Arsenio.
Yeah, and I think if the most telling thing about this is you're really showing his fucking IQ, because there's no joke. It's not really a joke, and it's not. He's always trying to do Rickles, but it's like low rent shithead Rickles. If Rickles wasn't funny, Rickles would just be an annoying
it's third
old
grade
asshole.
Rickles.
Yeah. And he just, again, he's never had a comic timing in his life. I just wonder what the fuck would he have done without Jackie, without Billy, without Robin there? He would have just been doing the weather in Toledo.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, could you imagine if a doctor, like a foreign doctor, came over here and was doing your surgery? Hey, man, this guy, he just came over. He's just performing a life-saving procedure. I mean, come on. How does he get to do that? It's not fair.
There's some hurricane winds coming into Toledo today. It'll be like Paul Lynde when he did that weather show.
Oh my God, that was my favorite.
That's great.
Go ahead. Do you think Arsenio Hall is talented, or does he have a picture of one of the Fox executives with a donkey?
Well, do you?
This is your question, man. This ain't my question.
No, go ahead.
You want to pass that on?
All right, what else you got?
We'll pass on that.
What is it? Which one do you pass?
Did the Fox exec? No, we can't do any of these questions, man. We can't do any of these. We can't do any of these questions. Let's do some of my. Excuse me for a minute. Let's take a commercial. What camera are we on? I'm losing my mind. We'll take a commercial, and we'll be right back.
He's so good.
What's that?
He's really good.
Arsenio Hall's a natural in front of the camera because he's been doing that stand-up stuff. Like, he's been doing stand-up. If you do stand-up long enough, you just do get comfortable on stage. You get comfortable talking to people, as opposed to Wig, who's not comfortable in any fashion. Like, if he's in his own studio, he's uncomfortable. So imagine sending him to LA without his entourage and taking off his glasses.
Taking off his hair.
The other thing was, we'll go into the after bits later on because it's the history of Howard Stern has some great bits where he completely contradicts what he said on the show and what he said over the years.
Okay.
Well, this is some lineup on tonight's show, I got to tell you.
Wait a minute. Jonathan Butler is a wonderful singer, very talented singer.
I never heard of him.
Oh my God! He took off the jacket.
Dude, do you bench?
Yeah, if it's spaghetti, he's benching meatballs. Look at those arms.
Was it Jackie who said, or it was Richie who quoted Jackie saying he had Christopher Reed in the wheelchair had more muscle tone? I mean, it's
He has fettuccine Alfredo arms. Look at those.
Yeah, that's total like pasta arms, and like he would have been better off with the brown leather pants and the black boots. There's no difference. The clothes wear him.
Always. He's such a poser.
Do you buy albums? Do you have
no, I don't buy. Disc jockeys get albums for free. That's the only.
I don't buy albums because I hate music.
Perk we
and
get.
You've never heard of Jonathan Butler?
No, never heard of him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Who else is on the show?
Marshall Warfield.
Marshall Warfield? Who's that?
Do you watch Night Court?
No, I don't.
Do you have a TV?
Because do you have a TV? Do you watch anything?
Yeah, I watched Dawson's Creek. How about you?
Marcia Warfield was like a legendary comic started in like Night Court was her big breakthrough, but she was on the Richard Pryor show and she was at the Comedy Store. So she knew all those amazing fucking like Letterman, Tim Reed, Tom Dreesen, all those guys back then, Leno. She knew all those people.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a TV. I watch it. I watch it religiously. I like to watch. I like Oprah. Okay, Oprah.
You like Phil?
Phil? No, I hate.
He likes Oprah. What?
Yeah. Say again.
Come again?
I think Phil's a jerk. I'm glad Oprah's kicking his butt. I really am happy about that. I think Phil Donahue and his dopey wife are jerks. The both of them.
Check out his eyes too. Like he's not necessarily crazy eyes, but he's almost never making eye contact with the camera. Can't do it.
He's such a liar. I mean, imagine, like I always say, imagine if anyone was interviewing him, possibly committing a crime. How guilty would you look?
OJ, did you do it?
I'm going to ask you some of my questions now because your questions were this.
Hey, let me say something. The set on this show is beautiful, and the thing I resent is when, I don't know, I signed with Fox to do a TV show. I couldn't get more than maybe 10 grand for the whole damn set. You go back here, when you're sitting backstage, they give you a bathrobe, a sign on the door with your name, soaps. All I wanted was a couple of good, decent microphones. If I had had a microphone like this, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't need to break it.
I'll fix that. Bring it.
There's not a laugh in sight. There's no laugh track, and there's an audience.
Well, yeah, look at his face right now. It reminds me of that schmo face when he's sitting at the Lakers game or the Knicks game. Sorry.
You know, he's like Mr. Fantastic with those stretching arms and legs and head that can just go well above.
He's the gay Stretch Armstrong.
I guess.
Bring it. It's all right. It's all right. Because the sound man is real funny about the mic.
Yeah, could you imagine if anyone, by the way,
yeah.
Could you imagine if anyone walked into the Sirius studio when it was first built and started tearing down microphones? Holy fuck. Holy fuck. The nerve on this asshole.
Really, sound man act like it's his mic. He's like,
I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right, we got the...
Talk about Jessica Hahn.
Jessica Hahn. Well, what about her? She got raped, for God's sakes. She got raped, for God's sakes. I feel bad for her. I hope they throw Jim Baker in jail for the next 20 years. I really do. I think that guy's a creep.
In the newspaper,
Isn't that what they said? That he raped her?
Yeah.
And didn't he admit to doing that?
Yeah, and she said this morning, I am not a bimbo. That was her quote in the paper.
She is not a bimbo?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'll go along with that.
Okay.
I'll go along with that.
NFL strike?
NFL strike. Arsenio, who wrote these questions for you?
Don't ask him a sports question. Don't ask him about anything. What are you expecting? He's a fucking 79. Now, the ironic
NFL strike.
NFL strike. You
Tom.
Yeah, you just. What's the next question about polymer chemistry? Come on, Arsenio. Jesus, who do you think you're talking to?
No offense. Who wrote these for you?
Okay, when one hits you and you like it, go with it. Okay.
Yeah.
You being the kind of never mind.
This is a great show. I can't see why it's going off the air. I don't understand it. It's got all of the right elements.
So when one joke doesn't really work, he keeps going for the same joke and doesn't get barely any laughs. I got a one-track mind.
I mean, I'm actually, surprised he hasn't molested him multiple times yet.
Well, he's racist, so Arsenio's not on the.
It's the magic, the excitement, the people who write the question, the talk show magic. It's really something else. I got to tell you, Fox I think is on the leading. I don't know, they're on the cutting edge with this program. I think.
We got it.
Arsenio, you ever feel like they're throwing you out here just to pass the time till they get the new show going?
I feel like they're buying my mother a Mercedes for Christmas. That's all.
Oh, they are? Are they paying you that much? Are they paying you that much?
Yes, indeed. And you're getting double scale this evening, aren't you?
So you
can the marbles.
You can tell Arsenio's definitely fucking pissed that he's just coming on and being it would be fine if he was funny. I think Arsenio would have no problem if he was being entertaining, but it's just a train wreck. And he's like, you're going to go through this. You're going to make me go through this. Fine. Now it's time to take some gloves off.
Yeah, because he's not only not being funny, he's being insulting, incredibly insulting.
Yeah.
And you're the asshole who didn't get the show.
Right. And as Arsenio, there was an interview with Bobby the Brain Heenan years later where he said that, Arsenio, we got a fruit basket and that like a huge thing of hams and whatever else and like whatever expensive alcohol and stuff like that they had as being a guest on the show, the Arsenio Hall show provided for them. And the wife said, "Oh, let's take this." And he goes, "No, we're not going to take it. And we'll look like we're poor." And then Arsenio called him up after he left the show. He goes, "Why didn't you take the fruit basket?" And Bobby the Brain said, "Well, we didn't want to seem like we were freeloading." He goes, "I got that for you." He followed like he was. That was meant like that's there's a purpose for that, and he always like if you read some more of his like I guess testimonials of the show, whatever. People loved him. People really did. He treated his staff really well, and he was just a class act guy. That wasn't the network. That was him making sure that his guests were treated right.
No water bottles for anyone, and
No coffee for Robert Plant.
no bagels.
Nothing.
Breakfast awaits no one.
No, it doesn't.
From this show,
I
do you
was
deal
with
with
women in high school, brother.
You were. Now that you're making money, do you have a new girlfriend, or did you have a girlfriend? Did you have a girlfriend beforehand?
I had a girlfriend before.
Before you got famous from this show?
Before I started doing this show,
And you're going to stick with her?
The same girl.
And you're
still with the same girl.
What about you, Wig? Are you going to stick with the same girl?
This is it. I hate how he always couches this like faux morality when he can't hit somebody. Oh, this guy's making more money. Oh, this guy has a talk show. Oh, this guy's funny and commanding his audience. Does he have a girlfriend, and does he cheat on her, or did he get rid of his girlfriend? Because that'll make you really bad, because who changes relationships in life unless you're a closeted homo?
That's admirable.
You have a girlfriend?
I have a wife. I've been married for 10 years.
Poor baby.
So the energy.
Look at his face. I have a wife.
That's the definition of afterthought.
Mr. Brady and Florence Henderson gave more convincing performances.
Boy, oh boy.
You think so?
Well,
Like married to you is some prize, huh, man? That's it, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about you and the FCC.
The FCC. Nah, I don't want to talk about the FCC. I was framed by the FCC. The show I do in New York is entertainment.
all of a sudden he's the fugitive.
And cut to the irony of this, cut to serious, where you could say whatever you want, and Howard's like rah censorship.
Yeah, pretty much.
We have the highest rated program in New York.
You had the highest rating.
We have the highest rated program in New York. And there was a reverend from Mississippi who decided he didn't like my show. I don't know how he picked it up from Mississippi, but he decided he didn't like it. I guess he had short. Is that what he had? Satellite dish to God. Yeah. And so he filed a complaint, but I think everything's all right. We're still broadcasting, and we're doing.
Oh man, did you fucking check out the crazy eyes? Did you? That whole exchange right now, that story. He looked like he was in fear of his life. He really did.
It was very tense.
Yeah, like, first of all, let's see if they can spot out the bullshit in this particular non-amusing anecdote.
Not only is it not amusing, but it looks like, what did you get on your science test? Did you bring it home? Yeah, I got a good grade, but I left it in my desk, but it's fine. It's fine.
What do you have for lunch?
It is like your mom or dad questioning you about something when you're little, and you know that you're trying to like navigate around it just by yourself a little time. Totally. I mean, he looks totally pressed.
Yes. And the other thing is, if he could have easily just said, I'm not allowed to talk about it. Or, no,
it's got to be boring.
Yeah.
Doing the show.
Has anybody ever said anything on your show that shocked you?
No, I don't think anybody could say anything that could shock me, quite frankly.
What about when Elle McPherson said? When Elle McPherson said, when I was young, when I was young, I saw my mother nude. It traumatized me. And she goes, yeah, I can see if she looked like you.
The yarmulke slap comment from Jamie too really nailed him.
Oh my Lord, that was something else. And I mean, like, I don't hold with anti-Semitism, guys, but I mean, that thing, he for weeks later, he could not let go of that.
Yeah.
No, unless.
Where were you raised? What kind of area were you?
I was raised in Roosevelt, Long Island.
That's where Eddie's from.
Eddie Murphy's from there.
Yeah.
And Julius Irving. Yeah, I
grew up. Did you play ball with Julius?
No way. I'm a real.
Because you're a tall guy.
I'm a tall guy, but I'm no good at basketball.
Really?
No good. But so that's where I grew up. Yeah. All black community. Thank you. I got beat up every day Martin Luther King died. I got beaten up at least 900 times. So I I got to tell you, man, I got beaten up for every white guy there ever was. I took all the punishment that ever existed.
Now, this is, this is 87. He goes into the only beatings he talks about in Private Parts, which is released 6 years later. This book is about Polish kids beating him up. And over the years, it goes from black kids to Polish, like black kids, writes about it, Polish kids, then black kids, then it's black kids, then it's black kids again, then it's all black kids. And now all of a sudden, it wasn't black kids, it was Polish kids.
I think he even talked about being afraid of his mom sending him to school and keeping him home.
Yep.
Didn't she keep him home that day? Wasn't it like...
Oh, you mean the day after the assassination of Martin Luther King?
I don't think he got beaten up. I don't remember him saying that after.
We should get that This Is Your Life episode of the Channel 9 show where he brings in his phys ed teacher, Mr. for literally 10 seconds. And he goes, do you remember all those beatings I took? He goes, I don't remember anything like that ever happening, Howard. And he goes, okay, that's been Mr. Chestnut.
Oh, you must have not seen me. You must have not. Where were you?
I was too busy laughing.
Hey, I took all the punishment for that one, and I had nothing to do with it. I swear to God, I had nothing to do with it.
One more thing.
What's that?
So Martin Luther King's death
yes
turns into I was accosted and it's about me.
Yeah, exactly.
You and Letterman, I heard you say something to him on the Emmys the other night. You also
let me say, if Letterman's watching, look, just because I'm doing this show, I love you. I think your show is the best. I'm just doing this. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I know you've offered me a slot in 2 weeks, and I'm tonight I'm even not going to watch myself. I'm going to watch the Letterman show tonight.
Well, we're not on opposite each other.
Oh, we're not?
You can watch this, and then you can watch. You don't have a watch that works either.
No,
they're on 12:30 to 1:30, and you can watch yourself the hour prior to.
All right, but everyone watch Letterman, for God's sakes,
yes,
okay?
Letterman is wonderful, man. He's a state of the art.
I don't want to blow my chances on the Letterman show.
Now, what is your T-shirt all about?
Well, this is a NBC strike T-shirt. The NBC guys are on strike, and I used to work there, and it's not that I side with those guys, because I hate NBC. They fired me at one time, so I'm wearing... Anybody who's on strike against NBC, I'm all for it.
So you're on the Fox show, trashing a Fox show and the network, and then you got fired from NBC, so you're trashing NBC. And then people still decided to throw contracts at him. I mean, because money talks. If you're a successful show, you're just part of the business. You deal with it. But I just don't understand why he had it. He was with Buchwald at this time. I don't understand why Buchwald would have told him, just dress the fuck up.
I don't know what his angle is. Just kill every possible job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy to me because he's such a sore loser. Because not everyone loves you. Don't you know show business? It really is kind of incredible. His narcissism, but his insecurity. So show business is incredibly harsh. So for him to stay in this one lane that has given him success, that's obvious why he did that, because he can't handle the rejection. For the few times that he's gotten rejected, look, he's flying to LA in a fucking tank top and chucks.
And he's got buoy for moral support.
Yeah. I mean, this is just crazy. And then the Letterman thing. Think about Letterman has known him since the early 80s. And so he's seen the transformation. He must have had him on his show and said, what kind of fucking wackadoodle are you?
Yes.
I mean, what kind of wackadoodle are you? Because in the first couple of appearances he was on Letterman, it wasn't anything amazing, but it was somewhat normal.
It was banter.
It was banter. You would kind of be like, wow, this guy's kind of just laying it all out there about how annoying his job is, how he doesn't like management, and how he feels boxed in.
Mm-hmm.
And then it becomes so shticky, and now look at him.
Right. And you're right. The lack of confidence is, I guess, the biggest takeaway from this particular appearance. But in general, you see why he keeps those shades on. You see why he tries to redirect things again away from himself, so he doesn't have to like out himself, no pun intended, on national television. And the other thing is, as Arsenio's right, all those guys, when they went on to do these shows, they didn't get paid much money. They got like SAG minimum or whatever. It was like $800 or something like that. They didn't get a shitload of money, although they got their expenses paid, or they got like hotel and shit, whatever it was. But to do this show which is not even like at this point. This is a test show for Arsenio. Like this is for the purpose to see if Arsenio has what it takes to get his own show. It's not a full-fledged Arsenio show. He's just a stand-in. And if he knows that this is something that isn't super popular or may not be super popular, who knows? Why would you agree to do it unless you were so fucking desperate to get on any TV? And that's pretty much the takeaway. Like, he claims, oh, I didn't want to do it. I don't need it. I don't need this gig. That's the first thing he said in the first 2 minutes. One of the first things he said, I don't need this, man. But you flew all the way to LA to do this.
Right. That's like going to somebody's birthday party and sitting in the corner and pouting and then just yelling, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, which is not uncommon what he's done later on with Bowie's dinner party and just about everything else, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I didn't want to go there, but you made a 13-minute speech about Richie Sambora's cock. You did a sing-along for 3 minutes.
Commercial, Arsenio,
Yeah,
for God's sakes.
We got to take a commercial.
Was your mother in a fire and she named you Arsenio? Is that
Well, that's a good line.
Is that what happened?
Actually, it's a very unique name for a black man. In Greek, it means Leroy.
Leroy, yeah.
We're going to take a commercial. We'll be right back with a man he's never heard of, Mr. Jonathan Butler.
So, okay, so you everybody got to look at the crowd. I'm going to see if I could scroll back to that just a bit. Okay, so the crowd, look at the cross-section.
Yeah,
what do you see?
A lot of
it's a mix.
diversity.
Well,
Yeah,
it's a mix. There's
a diverse audience.
Absolutely. Do you see any empty chairs anywhere?
No.
No. Okay. So now we're going to go into the real spin, guys. This is from the history of Howard Stern. And we're going to go clip number 1. Arsenio Hall appearance went well.
Went horribly. I mean, but horribly beautiful. You know, it was everything I could have wanted. I didn't want to go on there and not shake it up. You know, getting thrown off, crowd going berserk. It was like a symphony. You know, talk shows, I always loved doing talk shows, like even going on and trying to make out with Joe Franklin. It was so great. You know, I like this stuff.
Oh, it's so great. Don't worry. Thanks to Benjamin, we have your greatest hits of making out with hosts and raping them on stage.
Anytime you can get some male action, it's great.
My talk show appearances, being on a talk show guest and being great on a talk show is the most important thing in my life. So Arsenio Hall went well.
Children? Emily? Deborah?
I thought, you know, Well-Met's really upset.
Bianca?
We thought Well-Met was the best experience in your life. So here he is claiming in the history of Howard Stern, which was made in, I believe they started these 2008, 9, and 10. They started releasing them more or less. And so then you start hearing some of the, like his response, like when he got on the show and started talking about his experience.
Just another black boy making more money than you. And like, he wasn't even talking that good black accent. I mean, it was like I almost wanted to slap him and go, you know, you're offending me with this phony black accent.
It's like when I do a black.
Now he's a tough guy on the radio.
Oh my God. This is the biggest spin of my life. I'm a dreidel right now. Holy shit. You gotta be kidding me with this. The fake black accent. You just fake pretended you got beat up on Martin Luther King Day by black people. You just fake wore a wig. Yep. You fake everything. And you did the tough guy thing on the Arsenio. You were the one with the fake affect, not Arsenio.
No. And he was in fear of his life.
Yeah, it was like when Robin does a black accent. All right? I looked out on the audience. The audience was 50% black.
Yes.
Okay?
I think it was his fan club.
A fan club, family.
Yeah.
I mean...
Because this boy was God. I don't mean to keep calling him boy.
Yeah. Yeah, watch that. You're going to get black.
Oh, it gets worse.
Robin really just... I can't believe how they have gotten to pass all this time. Can someone please listen to this? Arsenio, anyone? Whoopi? Where the fuck are these woke tards?
These cancel assholes. I mean, absolutely. If you're really gonna give it to people that, like certain people that did not really deserve it. I mean, if you're good, then you give it to the people who really do deserve to be taken down for this shit, or at least thrown into the press, like to be facing it directly and having to account for it if that's the case, or get rid of it altogether.
No shit, this week trending was Jay Leno. They dug up some
Yes.
Asian joke he said like forever ago. And because Asian people hate crime is on the rise for Asians, by the way, the statistic there doesn't really go with the narrative, so they don't mention it.
Yeah.
But apparently Asian hate crime is up. So Jay Leno made a joke. Some asshole on Twitter pulls it up, and now Jay Leno's apologizing. I almost fell off my bed when I read that. I was like, are you kidding me? And this guy gets no apologies. It's fine.
Yeah. Nope.
Black people on your ass. The audience sounded like the road company for Good Times. You ever watch the show Good Times with J.J. Johnson or whatever his name is?
JJ.
So it's Jimmy Walker, JJ Jimmy Walker, who had a hit fucking show. And it was another Comedy Store regular, by the way. All those guys, Freddie Prinze, well, Letterman didn't, but Freddie Prinze, most of those guys got shows. They all got pegged to do TV shows because that was the big, if they're talented there, they're talented, they're going to make it somewhere. And it's that whole thing. And once again, what's his name? It's not important enough to me for me to remember. I'm going to purposely forget.
Yeah, JJ Jimmy Walker's career, he ended up at Buffalo at the disco doing doing photo ops for like $5. It was really sad.
Well, yeah, but I'm sure he made his bank while he was on that show for sure, because that was, there was a good run.
What was his name? Walker, yeah.
J.J. Walker, Jimmy J.J. Walker. And they go, like when Jimmy J.J. Walker would say something real lame, and then all the audience would go, woo, 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 woo.
Yeah.
You look out in the audience. By the way, most of the audience is empty. They don't show you that part. A whole section is...
Oh.
It's a small room. He's full of shit. You just saw the thing.
It was completely stacked to the brim.
Right. There probably was only about, I don't know, 150 people in there, maybe 200. Like, I'm sure it was a small studio. They're not meant to be that big. They're just TV's taping studios. You just need this many people to make the noise.
And nobody was making that noise.
No.
It's empty because who's going to go see Arsenio Hall?
One time they panned the audience and I saw like 3 scared white people, who
Yeah.
just happened to come to the wrong show.
That was Gary's cousin. So the whole audience is stacked with black people.
He just said there was 50% black, and now he's saying the whole audience is stacked with people. That wasn't even a minute ago.
I thought there was no one there. I just, what the hell is going on with her?
Like, you'd expect her to just kind of, if not defend Arsenio, then to just keep her mouth shut.
Yeah, why is she lying?
Right. Because you got your meal ticket. God only knows what happens if they go off the air and he goes, why wouldn't you defend me? So already they're bullshitting about, he said initially in the first minute of this clip, it was 50% black. Now he's saying it was stacked with black people. And then he said there was nobody in the crowd. Which was it?
3 whites, everyone's scared, nobody's there. Now it's packed.
And then Robin's got to double up and back him up. One thing, it's funny because later on in this clip, you'll hear it exactly. He has Baba Booey. Baba Booey made the trip with him. Why does he didn't have Ralph at the time, so he needed Baba Booey to give him support.
Of course he did. Oh, he's a baby deal. And I also noticed too the lies that he tells on the radio. I notice them more now because we've been doing this for so long. But when you're ping-ponging back and forth so fast like that, and you're just driving to work, you're changing lanes, you're thinking about what you're doing next, you're probably not even hearing how this makes no sense. And he's just completely 3 lies in about, 6 seconds?
Mm-hmm. These days, the way you'll hear it is more like within the realm of the confines of a question that becomes a long run-on saber dance thing that we're going to play later on to a guest because he's freewheeling it. He probably has 3 words on his paper, and he's trying to turn that into some kind of, Dick Cavett question, and he can't do it because he's a 79.
Yeah.
And so in his head, he's going, I'm going to fucking kill the guy who put these notes together, Will. Run away, Will.
So you feel like when you walk out there, and it was like I was the white blue-eyed devil or something.
You were already in trouble.
Yeah. So, and I knew I was in trouble when they were cracking up at Arsenio Hall's jokes that weren't even funny.
Yeah, like open the curtain.
Yeah, it was like
that got a huge laugh.
And he goes, "Let me see if I could open the curtain," and everyone's going, "Woo!" I felt like I was watching. You ever watch the movie Blackula? Did you ever go?
Okay, so this is where cancel culture would have a field day. This would be like a buffet for them, and the whole point is, okay, he's got to go back to the radio show where they can like pat his bum and they can pat his back and they can go, "You did okay. There, Howard. You're fine. You were the maligned person. They were against you. The world was against you." And Robin has to fucking suck up. Has to.
It's because you're white. His audience doesn't understand your humor. They're stupid and ignorant and only understand his black humor.
So the whites would understand the humor, but yet there was 50% white people and they didn't laugh. What's that telling you, shithead?
You're not funny, Howard.
Right. Sorry, Wig.
With an all-black audience, and everyone's yelling at the screen, "Watch out, Blackie! Get out anyway, baby! Get out!" Come on, Blackie, let's go to bite you now. Get out of here with God, kick his ass. I was in a coma at this point, so I don't know what was going on.
You were in a coma?
You were the audience was in a coma.
Oh my God, you were in a coma? You were in a hostage negotiation. You looked nervous and tense as hell. There is no coma that was going on. I mean, it could have been when you were initially had, the the blinder sunglasses on that, we couldn't see anything.
The kind NASA astronauts wear when they're doing launch and they're headed straight towards the sun.
Yeah, like Ace Rothstein.
Talk about being set
I want an equal amount of blueberries in each muffin.
up. I mean, one of the things when I go on TV, I really do give it my all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe on going on a TV show and holding back.
Okay, so clip number 3, Amos and Andy voice coming up.
This is what Martin Luther King died for, right?
Yeah.
Mama jokes at last, mama jokes at last. Thank God, great God almighty, mama jokes at last.
Boy, this guy set back race relations.
Robin takes it all. Sam's face.
Oh. What?
What?
I'm completely speechless.
Let's keep going. Number 4, bitching about Arsenio's audience still.
And the audience goes, "Woo!"
I know, he does this for like 15 minutes. He works this piece of material.
Yeah, even Allison said to me, my wife, who thought it was kind of a cute shtick at first, said, "Man, did he carry it too far?" I mean, if Arsenio Hall got up and said, I love chitlins," he would have gotten like a standing ovation for 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
I mean, and quite frankly, I give black people more credit than that. Just to hoot and howl because the guy's black doesn't make sense. I think it was like his black fan club. I don't think these were just black people from off the street.
And this was on the history of Howard Stern.
Oh my God.
They let this go through. So we're talking 10 years ago. This was on his own airwaves. I didn't, this wasn't, and this was, of course, from the original broadcast. And they saw no problem with this, just seeing how bad it would make him look.
Can we please send Arsenio Hall a copy of this to tell him to never go on the show again? I don't know how we can get it to him. Who his
Twitter.
Talent or published agent, something. Holy Christ in hell.
Yeah. I mean,
why is this acceptable? Why? I guess because the disconnect of there was no social media.
Yeah.
There was, people didn't watch TV all at the same time. There wasn't a connect. Your world was your community. It didn't really go much further than national news. There wasn't.
And most people weren't recording this. They just weren't. And listening back to it or whatever. But the other thing was, in the Private Parts book, which we've got clips, we're going to read some excerpts and we're going to put them on as screen caps so you guys can follow along with the bouncing Phil. And he a lot of it is verbatim, but he misses out. He changes a little bit of it. And the thing is, Arsenio thinks it's all shtick. Like he thinks it's all Howard's being a character. He doesn't know enough about him at this point, and years later to know that really was Howard. Like the faux, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I was an asshole," that's bullshit, Howard. The real
bullshit.
Howard. The real Howard was the guy right now on playing these old clips, talking bullshit about it.
The real Howard got completely steamrolled on that show and was looking like an asshole. So to turn it around,
Yes.
you decide to play the race card and scream about chitlins and
Yes.
woo.
Yeah.
Which
Now, and
that's not the truth.
And I have to be 100% transparent here. I was full on with Wig in terms of hating Arsenio because I hated watching Arsenio. The only times I would watch it is when a guest would come on that I wanted to really see an interview. Like Ice-T would be on, Public Enemy would be playing. When they had, after the Milli Vanilli scandal, and then he had them on to play as themselves, I was fat. I said, I got to watch that. You know, things like that. That was the Louis Farrakhan was on.
Didn't he have Magic Johnson on?
Yes, he did. And
that was good.
He had Jean-Claude Van Damme on the day after he had Steven Seagal. All a bunch of guests that would never have been on The Tonight Show at that point. And it was fascinating because you had like Seagal saying, I don't think much of him. And the next day, Van Damme was totally classy and said, no, I like Seagal. I like his movies. I'm not sure why he's trashing me. I think it'd be great if we worked together on a film and stuff like that. And I just thought, that's how you do a talk show. Absolutely. So he had a good ear for guests, like a good eye for guests as well. So let's continue with the history of Howard Stern, number 5, Rebel Without a Talk Show.
If you notice at one point, I'd have to show you on the tape, I'm sitting there, I'm not even paying attention, Arsenio. I'm going, okay, we're going to change this interview now.
Yeah.
Things are coming to a grinding halt to my side.
Yeah, I saw that look in your eyes.
Yeah.
All right, enough of this.
I said, if I'm going to sit here, the wheels start clicking.
Yeah.
And in all defense, I mean, if Fox is going to subject me to a situation like that, then they should expect full well that I'm going to have to start doing my thing and being myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to sit there and behave myself. I said, screw television, man. We're going for it here.
He's the big shot. I don't even know what that meant.
Wait, if I'm going to subject myself, you willingly flew to LA. No one asked you to.
Right.
Somebody might have asked you to, but you willingly went. You could have said no.
And when you got zero reaction for most of your statements and your comments, and you didn't, like, whose fault is that? The audience, because they don't get you?
Yeah. Talk about beating it. Who's beating the bit to death? You, not Arsenio.
Correct. So let's go number 6. Wig out-muscled by Arsenio.
I wasn't kidding. I was trying to walk out, but the guy's so much more powerful than I am. He threw me back in my chair.
He literally... Is there a way we could just put Wig's head on Joe Biden falling up those stairs onto Air Force One?
Let's find out.
About to leave, and I said, this would be great, but he knew he had nothing to do if you weren't there.
Yeah, but he literally manhandled me and threw me,
Oh, boy.
I said, where's Bernie Getz? The man is, this guy, the host is mauling me.
Yeah.
So now clip number 7, Wiggy brave enough to go after Rupert Murdoch after his show's been trashed.
Be mean and bad, but be mean and bad about the other networks. Never talk about our own network. And don't talk about Rupert Murdoch. For God's sakes, never mention his name.
He's God.
Yeah, he's the god over there. I mean, he's footing the bills.
And so this is from the same guy who actually started trashing Sirius when he was going after the lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
But Sirius were fantastic until he had to sue them.
Yep.
Yeah.
They were amazing until, I just, they didn't hold up their end of the deal.
That's right. I couldn't bring people.
They
so
only
I thought
gave me $500 million to do
Exactly.
this.
Exactly. Number 8, the last one. This is a long clip, but we're going to play only so much of this, but this is called Wiggy Needed Somebody.
I was supposed to be back on the show. Half of the Fox people wanted me to come back on that night, and the other half threw me out. So it's a whole big...
It was like, this War Powers Act thing that's going on in Congress.
You know that key to the city we got? Yeah. They took it back. See, the show wasn't really that outrageous, but Fox threw me out of the building. They should have thrown Arsenio out of the building. What a way to treat a guest. And then they'll tell me I'm difficult.
What?
Exactly.
Wig-tardo logic. We should start doing bits where it's like...
Let me see if I can get it correct. Okay, we're going to go in a reverse order here, but one of the clips from Private Parts of the book, page 272, if you are reading along, it says, I was a guest on Arsenio's old Fox show. That's probably where our feuding began. I had done a few TV pilots for Fox, and the total idiots who run Fox had no idea what to do with me. That's the extent of his involvement with Fox that he talks about in his book, because it's an abject failure. And then this picture that you see, Robin and I on the set of my never aired Fox pilot, because it's a complete failure. So it says here, meanwhile, the producer of my show, I'm assuming he means his Fox show, was producing their late night show, and Arsenio was the lame duck fill-in after Fox fired Joan Rivers. For some reason, the producer thought that if I appeared on the show, he would show the execs that I was bankable, and they'd go to series with my pilots. I flew out to the show for only one reason, and one reason only, to trash the shit out of Fox. So, like, that makes no sense. Your producer...
They already rejected you. They already said no. That's why Arsenio was there in the first place.
So this was a Hail Mary from the producer saying, we got to try to get... If the producer gets it to, gets him to get these shows aired, possibly he's going to get a credit, he's going to get more money, etc.
Right.
That's it. The producer's only real, like, invested interest.
Yeah, the producer's interested in the content for getting Arsenio's show some sort of, you know what I mean?
He's talking about the producer. Yeah, so the producer of his Fox pilots.
No, I know, but I'm saying that if Arsenio is going to have Howard on, don't you think their producers are like, yeah, why not have this shithead who we rejected on?
Yeah,
let's see what happens. You know what I mean? How would this ever look good for Howard?
Right. And how would it be a case where, okay, he's going to take over the show and show you what Arsenio can't do. Meanwhile, they loved Arsenio. They loved what he was doing.
Oh, yeah, we're so scared of your scary, amazing talent.
Right.
You blew everyone away.
And so...
Although the empty audience, I mean full audience, I mean black audience, I mean 3 scared white people audience.
Okay, so he said the segment ended. Arsenio told me to leave the set for now, and then he would have me back on after completing a segment with a South African band. He never said a South African band. He mentioned the fella's name. Then a page came up to me at the break and said, "Follow me." So this page took me and Baba Booey back to the dressing room. Empty hallway, empty dressing room. No producer, no Arsenio. It was like a ghost town. Why would you expect Arsenio? He's doing a show. Gary and I were standing there thinking, what happened? Before I knew it, 2 security guards escorted me and Gary out. Nobody said a word. No, you were great. No, you sucked. Nothing. Show us to the limo, and we got in to go out to the airport, and the limo driver was cracking up. "You were great, man," he said. "You fucking showed him. He's just a fucking asshole." The limo driver wouldn't have seen the show. He'd be in the limo. What, does he have a TV in 1987 in his car with the cable? So,
wait,
go ahead.
These things didn't air live, right?
They were live. I think Bowie explains in this next clip, live to New York or something like that, but they might have had a delay. I mean, they were filmed the day of and then released that day, but I don't think they were live. No.
But you're telling me this appearance just happened, and the guy who's your limo driver, who just left his house and flew over to the studio to take you to the airport? Yeah, you were great, man. What is he? I Dream of Jeannie? Like, boom.
Well, okay, so then he starts some of the thing about Blackula, the stuff that you heard. He puts it in his book, and then he said the next thing I knew. He wrote down, Arsenio was trashing me a few nights later in what had to be the lamest monologue ever. "What's his name?" He feigned forgetfulness. "Yeah, you know that move, Howard?" Snapping his fingers. "Howard Stern, the DJ from New York. Oh, my man is a slime burger to the max." "Slime burger to the max? You call this comedy? What a monologue." "He's the reason why a lot of women are gay," Arsenio went on, and Howard was on Letterman. "I'm surprised they were able to get all the chapstick off Letterman's pants during the commercial because he kissed my man's butt for 10 minutes.
True in every word.
So that's and I'll put some of those on there, guys, as an abstract for you to read. Hopefully the resolution will be good enough. But either way, this is the last clip. It's called Wiggy Needed Somebody. So we're going to go through it bit by bit.
What an experience going out there and doing that and getting thrown out of the building, no less. And what was weird about it was, I was there with a friend of ours who used to produce our television show.
Yes, now what happened?
We were budding it up backstage and hanging out and everything, having a really good time.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got off the air,
He was like buddying up with me and everything. As soon as they threw me out of the building, he was like, okay, I'll see you guys. And then just like ran off.
You're kidding.
No, it was weird.
Wow.
So the producer he mentions that did his Fox show ditched him because he was such an embarrassment. And because
you weren't funny, you trashed the network, you trashed the host.
Right.
And you weren't funny again.
Right.
It was like being a leper. And then
right on.
Fox didn't like what I said. Who cares? Screw them. Screw them.
I love that upper register Stern. Pre-puberty. Go ahead.
Because in show business, that's generally what you're going for. You want to be on TV so bad that anyone who rejects you, it's time to start, slamming the owner of the network, the hosts of the shows, the network itself. That'll get you far.
Right. And don't forget to neglect that you went in and tried after Joan got fired. You went in and you were supportive of Joan so much that you decided I'll give it a shot myself. Instead of saying, fuck that network, fuck them for fucking my friend Joan over, which is what a real friend would do.
Well, he feigned that it broke him up and he was, he couldn't believe they did that to her. Yeah. Right. Meanwhile, you would have taken that pilot in a heartbeat. Joan who?
Less than a heartbeat. Fuck you and Edgar.
Who cares? Screw them. Who cares? Screw them.
Could you say that one more time?
Who cares? Screw them. Hey, when I go to war, I go to war.
When I go to war. And his way of getting back at him was getting on the air and saying some things and then writing in a book. It's not like he confronted him again.
The problem with being me, and a lot of people don't realize this, after something like the Arsenio Hall show, I don't walk out there and go, I just did great television. I shake almost, and it takes so much out of me because I am concerned whether or not it was good. Ultimately, was it funny? And B, I do take it to heart.
So he says he's a complete pussy, and he was shaking in his boots.
I don't care, man. I don't care. I don't care. What happened to that?
Yeah, exactly. So this is him in 2004, like being interviewed about it, basically by the Howard staff, doing these, trying to put these wraparounds for these History of Howard Stern shows. I love the History of Howard Stern shows because there's so much conflicting information, and they released it as is. Like,
I know
they don't all agree on things, and so and they still said basically they proved Howard's full of shit using other people's interviews.
It really is without. I mean, I don't know whose idea was how to put that together, but the fact that they brilliantly asked everyone the same situational question and they each gave their own interpretation of events. Right. I mean, that was so interesting to listen to because most of the time, Howard is not in line with everyone else.
Not even close. And that's why if you can find it, go ahead, like definitely guys download it or whatever, because you get so much more, you a lot of things will be edited, but not so horribly. And people will tell you different stories of the same, different versions of the same story, which is why it's so essential.
When somebody is physically having you removed from a building, it's not a great place to be. I can't imagine what that did to me. It must have taken some years off my life because physically drained from it.
PTSD for getting kicked out of a building because you were an asshole and unfunny and you attacked the network.
It basically just seems like the dressing room was empty and they're like, okay, guys, you got to go.
Get out.
And then, the ass-kissing limo driver ready and wait to boost you up with a fake anecdote.
His cheering section. Airport.
He needed to put that in to boost him up because I truly believe he felt that defeated. The next day, when he came on the air and he did this whole narrative that we just played, that's how he came off. But this is how he really felt about it. He felt about it.
And not only that, this is where he starts to go in into how I needed Gary. I needed Gary to boost my fucking ego. Well, if you didn't care, then why did you need Bowie? Why wouldn't you just get on a plane and say, fuck him?
Why did you need the fake limo driver?
Why did you need that narrative in your book?
Mind would be on fire. Like, oh my God, what just happened? And what are going to be the repercussions? And I don't know, am I in trouble? I always felt like a kid in trouble, like a little kid in trouble. I never walked in as the super confident guy who was on the radio with the #1 morning show. I walked in like a kid, like a little kid, and now I'm going to go get myself in trouble.
That's how he came off on The Appearance, like a little fucking spoiled baby. Like I got booted off this show, so fuck them.
Yeah, he's spoiled brat.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just think that his reflection of this, I then don't say those things. How about actually take some time and think about a funny appearance?
Story, something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Think about
Anecdote.
something else. Anything. If you're so worried about your appearance, it seems like the only thing you're worried about is your Floby wig. I mean, the fuck?
And it was hard. And of course, when you need Gary to confide in afterwards, and he's sleeping next to you, it's a real pain in the ass.
Paul, I need orange juice. The worst for me was when I did the Arsenio Hall show and I got thrown out, like violently thrown out, ushered out by.
Now it's violent. Everyone's beating him up. He's always Martin Luther King Day was just like the worst, accosted by everyone, and now now it went from people just basically kind of walking him out to being pushed out to
thrown out
violently.
Robin, they had the hose on me.
Cops or security.
That's when you said, were you named in a fire? Did your mother name you in a fire?
Yeah, well, no, it was worse than that.
Don't talk about my mom.
You asked Arsenio if he had pictures of Fox executives with farm animals.
Yeah, because how else could he get this show? It got ugly, but
great.
And they told me to go backstage. They were going to have a band from South Africa on, and then they bring me back out again. And as soon as they got me back there, they ushered me out. They were afraid I wouldn't leave.
They
weren't afraid you wouldn't leave. You had to leave. Like, they hated you. They fucking thought you were an asshole. Get the fuck out.
Spot's over and the show has to go on. Bye.
Yeah.
You wait so they could throw you out.
Make a long story short, I was so freaked out by that. So freaked out by that. And Baba Booey stayed behind because I said to him, listen, stay with me. I'm going to, I might need you. You get on the plane. This guy, within 5 minutes.
I need my security buoy. So I can suck my thumb and have Bowie like pat me down.
I mean,
he's like Linus and Bowie's the blanket.
He does. It's so true.
Bowie is just like me. He falls asleep on the fucking like in first class. He fell asleep instantly. I'm the same on a plane. I could sleep on a hand grenade. I could sleep on nails. My wife is so angry when she sees me like that because she has a lot of trouble sleeping. One time,
I
real
could
quick,
sleep like nothing too.
One time we're flying to go to Canada. We have to fly like usually it's whatever. Tokyo to Toronto, Toronto to whatever East Coast, and then what happens before we've even done the flat, like cruising altitude? I'm already asleep, and you're supposed to be awake for that.
I know, it's something about it. Really does. Like I could fall asleep in a car really easy. I could really fall asleep on a plane, and it's all a different ball game when you travel and you have a kid and you go on vacation for the first time and you have to like bring activities out and you have to like be present. And I'm like, ooh, I'm having trouble.
Exactly. So he's got booty.
I want to fall asleep on your coloring book. You could color my face. I won't wake up.
Wake up and you got kiss makeup on your face.
That's the most important part of the story. I'm flying coach. Howard whips out his American Express and he goes, you know what, man? I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to move you up to first class.
I moved him up to first class because I was
so
like,
he can be with you.
because I needed somebody. I needed my man with me to help calm me down. I
just can't get over the image of the blanket. I needed my booby blanket.
I think I'll have to make Photoshop using Linus somehow on the Arsenio Hall show.
He comes in like Lucy and walks out like Linus.
freaked out. I was like, oh my God, what just happened? We were ushered out by security.
In fact, Howard called me because I'm watching it in New York. I'm in New York. He's in LA.
Yeah, and I said to Robin, I go, Robin, you got to watch this thing and just tell me, what do you think?
He said, how bad was it?
Yeah, I mean,
he was thrown out on his ear. He's like, oh my God, what did I do?
At least mention the fact it was the red eye, okay?
Okay, so once again, he was all confident. He put on a great show, and he put it in his book as it was confident. But then here he is admitting that he was a nervous wreck because it didn't go well. and they threw him out.
Yeah, I thought it was Arsenio's blackness was just taking over the show and making it unfunny.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, I needed Bowie to prop up my frail king baby ego.
That reminds me of somebody.
It was not the red eye.
It was the red eye. It was a 10 o'clock flight. 10 o'clock at night.
I don't believe you're right.
Yes, of course it was.
We taped early, I think. I took a red eye?
Yes, absolutely. I'm positive.
It was not the red eye. I'll bet the farm on
I'll bet
it.
the farm that it was. I remember because...
You know what, Howard? Don't even... I've sat next to Gary on a flight in the middle of the afternoon.
No, this was the afternoon. I know it was.
It couldn't have been the afternoon because you didn't.
It was like
tape
at 5 or 6 o'clock.
Robin had already seen the show because the show was broadcast live to New York, which was at 11 at night.
Really? All right.
Wow. Okay, so it was broadcast live. That's pretty amazing in that era. But I guess Fox, maybe that's what they decided to do. And they might have had like a 10-second delay or a 7-second delay, the way a lot of those shows would.
No way they had a TV in that limo.
This limo driver's got a Watchman.
If you're listening.
Well, anyway, I don't know. I was wired out of my mind. I'm talking to Baba Booey. He goes, and he just turns it. He goes, I'm going to sleep, and he slept. He woke up only once during the entire flight. He looked around like that. He wakes up and he goes, this is how he wakes up. He goes, he starts smacking his lips. I swear to God, like, and he goes, my mouth was dry. He goes, I need.
We've seen that lip smacking in the Sleeping in the Office video when he's on his chair.
Well, he has just a cranium that defies logic. The mouth ratio to forehead to middle face, it's all wrong.
It's Cro-Magnon. Yeah.
He takes it and he starts drinking orange juice, and then he goes, and he turns over and he goes right back to sleep. I want to take him and take his lips and rip him out of his face.
You know what, the only
strangle him with his own lips.
The only part of that story you got wrong is that you're not nearly doing justice to how loud my lip smacking was.
It was unbelievable.
I know, because I was dating a girl at the time, and she heard you talking about that on the air.
Yeah.
And she was, she'd heard my lip smacking when I wake up, and she was cracking up.
It was unbelievable. But he's like all groggy Baba Booey.
That's the best part. We get to go out of pocket to pay him first class ticket, and he just slept on the whole way. And he's there to give him moral support.
Yeah, and I'm like,
I mean, I'm sure Gary has been through so much, but I wish I could have had that plane footage. If they were going down,
right? Like,
the
listen
black
to this.
box. I want it.
Listen to this.
I need to talk to someone.
Baba Groggy.
I think I called you on the phone from the plane.
Well, I don't know. I think you were still in the airport.
We were in the airport.
Oh, God.
In 1987, you called from the plane. What did you have, like a fucking Matrix phone 20 years later?
Yeah, what is this, Star Trek?
We're a mess, and you got on, and he was no help at all.
No, it was very nerve-wracking.
But I do appreciate that you got me to a more comfortable area to sleep.
No, I've sat next to him in a plane. He falls right asleep.
Oh, it's horrible.
He's out.
I'm like a monkey, I swear to God.
I wanted to sleep. I mean, I wanted to sleep, and he's sleeping.
Yeah, and you're watching him sleep
And you know what?
while you're irritated.
If I would have stayed awake, you probably could have slept. I think the fact that I was sleeping annoyed you so much you couldn't sleep.
And he didn't sleep. It did. And he didn't sleep for a half hour. He slept for the entire flight.
That's great.
Oh, that's so awesome. He wanted to talk to him so bad. He needed his narcissistic supply. He's like, where's my supply?
Exactly.
I remember.
He woke up refreshed in New York.
I do remember that I fell asleep before the plane took off. That's rare for me.
Yeah.
Wow. I did. And I remember.
Before?
It was a waste.
I remember that
It was a waste of money.
You nudged me awake because, like, you were landing.
Yeah.
I swear.
I was annoyed.
You had to wake him up for the landing.
Yeah, and you know, even during the flight, I'd ruffle my papers and like punch him in the arm, and he wouldn't even move. He's like, and he's snoring, and he's like,
And the idea that he wakes up for a second just for orange juice.
and falls back asleep. I was like, okay, he's up now.
I love that. One for you, Bowie. Gotta love that.
Oh, that was so good.
So, if you think that was something, guys, we're actually going to go into the subsequently. So in the Private Parts book, I've explained. I read the little section where Arsenio basically had Adam a few days later. So this is the original Masa boy rant.
afraid to say your name.
Yeah, well, Arsenio better keep his trap shut when it comes to me. He knows better. He knows I've bitch slapped him a few times on the radio. He knows that.
On the radio, he just admitted he was manhandling you on the set, and you couldn't. He didn't have the strength to run away.
I'm sorry. I have never been accosted by sound.
You know what? I heard what he said on the radio, and I was in the fetal position for weeks.
Arsenio's well trained. Arsenio's my boy. Arsenio knows to keep his trap shut because I can make his life miserable. Right, Arsenio? You dope.
Especially by appearing on his show.
You just keep your trap shut, you big dope. Gums.
Is Wig the inventor of like this woke like microaggression? Like all these bitch babies on campuses who are like, "Rah, the world's after me. I don't like this." I mean,
pretty much.
Yeah, look at this. He's saying that he bitch slapped him on the radio.
The radio. I mean, there's nothing lamer than that. You know, in my mind, I put him in a figure four leg lock.
I daydreamed about punching him in the face.
Right. In my dream, I knocked him out and took out all his teeth. The thing is, also, his studio has always been his safe space. He really is like Jodie Foster in what's that Panic Room? That's what it is. Oh. And anytime he's out of his element, he's just like a fish out of water. My favorite part, if you want to illustrate that, guys, pre-COVID, in 2019, when he's doing all of his book promo, where is it mostly being held? In his fucking studio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
very, very orchestrated.
Totally.
Shut up, Gums. He's my boy. Right, Arsenio? You're my boy? You know how to shut your mouth, right? You dope. You're my boy.
So he was shadowboxing with tape from the beginning. Like he never had a face-to-face with any of these fucking people. So for this to go on, and then also Arsenio going on later, I'll read it from the book, but check it out.
You do what I tell you. You just shut your mouth when it comes to me. You stop flapping those gums in the wind. You lummox.
Lummox. I'm surprised it wasn't Lummox with the Zeppelin.
For him to call him boy is... I don't understand how Arsenio didn't bring in this tape and say, "Hey, I heard you bitch slap me. Mm-hmm. I just brought this in and I wanted to replay it for your audience."
Absolutely. And this,
I mean,
you should.
Come on. Why isn't anyone growing a set? We're giving you the answers, people. Start bringing it up. Don't let this fraud get away with it.
We're putting it on a Gardein platter for you.
Yes.
He knows who I am.
The DJ.
I'm Massa. I'm not DJ. He's my boy. I got my own personal boy in California, it's Arsenio. I control him. You triangle-headed bastard.
Now, didn't Bill Maher get in shit not too long ago, like a couple years ago, for saying I'm a house, blah blah, N-word, and that got him in shit?
Yeah, but it's the context is completely. If you miss the context and you just hit the punchline, it's going to sound bad.
That's right.
But you need the context of the joke.
Right, but that's the whole point. Taken out of context, it sounds awful. There is no context here. The context is he's pissed off at a black guy, and now he's saying I'm Massa, and he's calling him boy.
Yeah, there was flapping gums. I mean, he's doing a full on, blackface show.
Yeah.
All right. You just keep your mouth shut. I bet you he gets the AIDS virus with all those broads he's doing. I read about it.
Wish that on. That's the plague. I don't wish it on anyone.
I didn't say I wished it on him. All right, I wish it on him.
Oh, jeez.
I wish the AIDS virus on him.
Oh, you stop it. Now you've gone too far.
Yeah, there you go. Went over the line.
Now, I'm going to keep going. There's only a little bit more, but just one sec.
Cross that line. Yeah, I wish AIDS on him. What do you think of that? I hope he gets AIDS and dies.
I know you don't mean it.
Why not?
Because,
I don't like him.
Okay, so there you go. So that's the original Massa rant. And now I'm going to play one more clip, if I can find it. Just one moment.
He has a wife and children, And because he didn't like the way his performance went to a show that he volunteered to put himself on, now Arsenio should die of AIDS. Okay, that makes sense.
So now, to add a little more fuel to the fire, we have Wig's first appearance on The Tonight Show after Jay Leno has taken it over, obviously, in 1992. And he starts shit-talking Arsenio.
Talk about Johnny, Jake. Just keep it in your pants. But I'm going to say something. I tuned in Arsenio the other night, right? And I like this show 10 times better than any Arsenio show, by the way. I really do. This moron, thank you. This moron Arsenio, who couldn't even do stand-up comedy. Jay, true or false? You are a stand-up comic. You sit at home at night evaluating other comics with Jerry Seinfeld. They sit at home, they watch television. Do you or do you not sit and evaluate other comics?
Oh, sure, I think everybody
You do, you do. Is Arsenio a good stand-up comic? No, say it. Say the truth. He is not.
No,
All right, he is not. I don't mean to get you involved in a rivalry.
No, I would say it. No, he is pretty good stand-up.
He's a good stand-up comic? That's a lie. Hey, Branford. This is the...
What?
No, this is the...
And the reason why I'm playing this, it will be very obvious when we start playing the actual interview. Obviously, we know what the Reschinding episodes are about, but I just wanted people to know that he doubled down. It wasn't just, in 87 he was pissed and he got on the show and he held a grudge against him. Well, there's that. But then going into 93, he's still pissed off because this is the era of the late night wars. So
could you imagine laughing your ass off if you were Arsenio and seeing this clown in a longer wig, poodle do? Jay Leno's putting on his glasses and he's sitting there. Now tell me, do you do this? Do you sit there and judge with Jerry Seinfeld comics? It's
right.
Like, why? If I were Arsenio, I would be fucking laughing hysterically at this lunatic. Like, you're still obsessed with me, dude?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm already like 4 years into my show and I won't have you back because you were a shit guest. And this is the thing I have a feeling that all these guys, Leno, Letterman, they really just had him on to mock him. I think they had him on to show him up for the fucking tool that he is. I believe that's what it was.
Well, just the same way I believe certain comedians' wives make fun of other wives per se in the Hampton-esque crowd. Like, I think Beth is a big joke. Ilaria is a big joke. I think they all invite her for the mock of it. Yes. I think Howard's invited to these things for the mock of it. I definitely think when he goes on vacation to Mexico and Beth's hammered, that was embarrassing and they laughed the next day. Remember?
I agree. Yeah, I think they're just become the story you talk about when they're gone.
Yeah, so who are these people? What is going on?
Why are you famous?
Why are you showboating?
Yeah.
Killer instinct. What did you say? Oh, he's a pretty good stand-up. He got no killer instinct. Let me tell you something. My feeling on Arsenio is he's a crummy stand-up comic. So I tuned in the other night. So his big thing about Jay is he calls Jay a punk ass. Now let me tell you something. Does anybody in this audience know what a punk ass is? What do you think of that? Someone calling you a punk ass. What do you think of that?
Well, I think you just sort of saying. Well, I think it hurts the person who says it more than to respond.
You're like a lamb, Jay. You're like a lamb. No. I think Jay is like a lamb.
This standing up, the hand, the gesticulating, Beth is almost exactly the same, except she doesn't stand up and looking for I mean, again, it's a Rickles affectation, but it's shit Rickles. And then he starts going over to Branford, doesn't last with the show, but he goes, "Oh, because she's black and you're black, he's out to ruin you," whatever the fuck. I mean, there was no ruining. By the time Jay Leno got on this show, and his ratings started going through the roof, basically, and he never really suffered after the fact.
I really like how he's complimenting Jay so much, because then we all know how quickly that turned, the worm turned, and then all of a sudden he's talentless and I don't know how he got this job. And he has zero loyalty to anyone.
Nothing. So it's so
he
it's so
stands
awful.
for nothing. He doesn't care about anything. And that wig sweating, that's very telling. That's very telling. The perspirating around that poodle do is very telling.
All right, guys, get ready, because we got our first saber dance question right out of the bat on, I think it was the 2nd of March. Arsenio agreed to do an interview. And then the first question is like a minute in 14 seconds. So bear with us here.
So I spend so much time in my life. I'm running out of time. I spend so much in my time going back and observing your talk show. And there was so much great stuff in there. I really recommend people do this because I think when you had the show, I certainly, first of all, I was so fucked up. I couldn't appreciate anybody who had any kind of audience I was jealous of and angry with. But, and I apologize for that because I missed out on how great that show was. And now when I go back and look at it and I watch you with, there's a couple of shows that just were mesmerizing, especially the one with Prince. I think Prince was at his best. Came on your, and really, what a sign of support. A guy comes on and does 5 songs. I mean, he really came through for you. It was the most loving gesture.
Again, that fucking term loving.
Again. He is a human impersonator, everyone. A human impersonator. Star fucking is a loving gesture.
Well, not only that, okay, so we've already got him right out of the bat. Like, this is, I didn't clip the entire interview, but this is part of it, the first part of it. And the idea that he fucking trashed him for so long, and he's saying, oh, because I was jealous. No, yeah, you were jealous. That was your original, that was your real
I actually
visceral
appreciate
reaction.
you said that.
Why? Because he explained that he was jealous?
Yeah, I mean, at least he said he was jealous. I you know, at least
When
said
you-
something.
When you say I have to
I
apologize,
like
but you don't
that
actually...
better than out of my mind.
Okay, but still, when he goes, I've got to apologize, but then he never actually says sorry, that's not an apology.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
It's him avoiding having to say, I'm really sorry. And I apologize. When you say I apologize to you for blah, 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 that counts as an apology. But when you say I've got to apologize and you never actually say what it is you're apologizing for, you're saying it was because of me, because of this, whatever. You have to be sincere, and he doesn't sound sincere. It just sounds like word vomit bullshit.
It also sounds like super... when you're asking a question, say if you're a journalist or an interviewer, if you have your opening, statements or however you're going into this into a self-serving monologue, dipping trying to dip into something. I mean, how awful. How awful. This is terrible. I mean,
it's like,
just ask
Tom,
a fucking... You should have said, okay, before we start this, I want to say A, B, and C. Not this.
No, it's not like, Tom, when you threw that pass for that touchdown in the Super Bowl, I was driving down Wilshire Boulevard and I needed a pizza, so I went and got a pizza, and they fucking put our anchovies on. I didn't ask for it; they just gave it to me. I had to fucking eat it to pick them off, And then, by the way, my hubcap, someone had ripped off my hubcaps. My rims were gone by the time I came out of the pizza place. So ultimately, it wasn't a good day for me. So when you threw that touchdown,
I know.
What the fuck?
But it's more like in the Tom Brady sense when he tries to relate to him. I just had to be the best. I got up at 4 a.m. and I know what you went through, the struggle. No, you don't. You don't.
You had someone drive you in.
Yeah, the struggle.
The struggle. Okay.
Fucking Grillos at the door. Potatoes are cut. People are clearing the halls.
Right.
Like it's a fucking air raid drill. Get
that,
out of here.
You know that Ronnie, the same way you tuck a kid in the crib, Ronnie, when he went inside, Ronnie opened the door and put his seatbelt on for him.
Hey gang, it's Fillmore. Just to keep you in the know about why this episode was not complete, because it originally was 2.5 hours. Basically, when I uploaded it to YouTube, the new interview section of Howard and Arsenio was ID tagged, and basically SiriusXM is forbidding that from being played. But what I believe is, it's nothing about we're on their radar. It's not about, he doesn't want that interview out there, because this interview was really not, it was actually one of his better interviews. I believe, and we all believe, that he's pre-recording a lot of these interviews, but some not. So the Foo Fighters, for example, which we covered in a previous breakdown, that was fine. There were no ID problems. There's no copyright problems there through SiriusXM. But this one, they actively ID tagged separately the interview with Arsenio, and that's why it came up. So even if he was on our radar, and we know we are, he couldn't do much about it other than that. So he can still suck my dick. And you're still going to be able to hear the whole episode unexpurgated on Podbean, Spotify, Player FM, Pocket Casts, Google Podcasts, all of the other podcast apps that you use to listen to us when you're not watching us on YouTube. But we enjoyed the first part, and he has no control over the old Arsenio Fox footage, so he can't do anything about that. So that's why we left this one incomplete, but partially complete on YouTube, because there was still a good hour and 40 minutes that remained. So enjoy, guys, and sorry about that, but we want to keep you in the know. Love ya.